Good morning. I hope you're all well. Please subscribe for more information about my story, and please press the bell button for more notifications. Thank you. In this video, I'm beginning to tell you the story of Dlrow. This is how it begins. This is the story of a world far away. The first chapter says it is forming. In the beginning, there was dust and gas. The gas was the future, and the dust was from the stars. More and more gas and dust continued to build until rocks formed. Rocks formed and collided with each other. As one rock grew to a certain size, it would develop its own gravity. After 100 years of this process, there were about 40 rocks, the largest having a diameter of 150 miles. All of these rocks orbited the star, of which I am not inclined to say the name. For an unknown reason, some called it this, but the preferred name is Dlrow or Dlrow. The name of the planet closest to the Sun was and is Dlrow. Dlrow, after 200 years, many rocks had joined together. There were now 36 rocks, and the biggest had a diameter of 166 miles. Yes. Along with the largest rock, there were 3 other large rocks. Each had a diameter of 32 miles, and a balance of gravity with the large rock that caused them to orbit the large rock. They would later become moons. At this point in time, the process had continued for 300 years. The entire time these objects were forming, they were not cool, so instead they were balls of magma and gases. The diameter of the rock at this point was 187.5 miles, and the diameters of the other 3 were 43 miles each. In the planet's orbit, there were now about 28 total rocks. At this point in time, the rocks were about 40% the size of their eventual size. As the rocks continued to collide, it was impossible for the cooling process to take place because there was never enough time between the rocks had a great deal of pain and often death when colliding with one another. After 400 years, the diameter of the largest rock was 250 miles. The diameters of the moons were all 50 miles. In the orbit, there were now 24 total rocks. After 500 years, the forming process was halfway complete. The largest rock now had a diameter of 750 miles, which was half the eventual size. It is believed that there was a great deal of growth during this time. The other 3 rocks now had a diameter of 150 miles. The other rocks had grown along with the largest rock. In total, there were now 20 rocks. 100 years later, the largest rock had grown again, this time with less growth. The large rock was now 60% of its eventual size. It had a diameter of 900 miles. The other rocks each had a diameter of 180 miles. In total, there were now 16 total rocks in the orbit. Some of the smaller rocks orbited the other 3 rocks, yes. Many of these rocks were slung into the rocks themselves or the star. The reason why it's difficult for me to read this sometimes is because the handwriting is a bit messed up. This is the original copy, which I had written on paper, per se. And what's essentially happening here, as you might be able to tell, is this is the forming of celestial bodies, essentially. These 3 rocks were slugged into the large rocks, the 3 rocks themselves, or the star. Right. After 700 years, the largest rock had grown to 70% its eventual size. If you do the math, the largest rock now had a diameter of 1,050 miles. Now, I'm really just reading off my original copy here. The other 3 had diameters of 210 miles each. In total, there were now 12 rocks in the orbit. All of the rocks orbited the 3 rocks. No, 4 of them. Not all of them. My bad. For a time. The other 4 followed their own path in the orbit. Most of these rocks had a diameter of... this is a number I can't even read. One of the rocks, however, had a diameter of 80 miles. It was created when 2 rocks came together. The largest rock had now grown to 80% its eventual size. It had a diameter of 1,200 miles. The 3 rocks had a diameter of 240 miles. In total, there were now 8 rocks. The largest stray still resisted. Another 100 years passed, and the process was 90% complete. The diameter of the largest rock was now 1,350 miles. The diameter of the 3 rocks was now, I say was because it applies for all of them most likely, now 1,350 miles. In total, there were 6 rocks. The largest stray still resisted, the other barely did. Finally, after 1,000 years, the expansion was complete. The largest rock had now reached its known diameter of 1,500 miles. The other 3 rocks now had a 300-mile diameter, and the resisting stray finally gave in. In total, there were just 4 rocks left. Thank you, that was chapter 1. Essentially, what happened in this chapter was the forming of celestial bodies had begun its beginning, had finished its beginning.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn what happens next in my series, please consider subscribing and pressing the notifications bell so you can receive all notifications. Thank you. Have a great day.